So we haven't used our repo yet, but don't worry. The next thing that we're going to move on to is functions. And functions basically help us to organize our code into reusable blocks, right? Instead of repeating logic, we define it once and then we reuse it over a multiple periods of time, or we reuse it anytime. Yeah. This makes our code a lot more cleaner and just easier to understand. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a function that takes a list of prices, loops through each of them, and then adds them together, and then returns the final total. Okay? So, in order to start, or in order to create a function, we start with def. Okay? We give it a function name. Remember that in Python, we always use underscore to kind of separate the naming conventions, okay, just to kind of keep it clean. Okay, so we're going to define the function called calculate total, right? And it takes the parameter called prices, and this will be basically your list of numbers, right? Then we've got total. We are now creating a variable, right? And we're setting the value to 0. Okay, this will store the running total as we add up all the prices. So everything starts at 0, but eventually the amount would go up, right? As we add them. Then we'll create a for loop, right? We start a loop that goes through each value in the price list. So we'll say for price in prices, right? So each time the loop runs, price over here will be one of the items from the list. Okay? And then we'll say we'll add the total price, or sorry, we'll add the current price. There we go. We'll add the current price to the total. And this is basically shorthand for total equals to the total plus the price. Okay? So we're saying plus the price is equal to the total equals the total plus the price. That's what this little shorthand is for. Okay? Let me add a comment to describe what it's doing. So, there we go. Okay. And then we'll ask for it. Let's go back to return the total. Okay? And what we're saying here is that to return the final total after all the prices have been added, and this sends the result back to wherever the function is being called, right? So we need to call this function in order for us to see the calculated total price. Okay? So let's go through that again. Here we have a function, right? And we've defined it as calculate the total. With our calculate total function, it's expecting, right? It's expecting something. And that's what's inside of the parentheses. It's expecting a parameter of prices. And that is the list of numbers that we're expecting. Cool? Then we have total, and we have created a variable here. And what that means is we have set it to 0, and so that later on an actual amount or number can be added to it. Okay? Then we started our for loop, and what this means is that it's going to run through each value in the price list. Okay? And each time that loop runs, it'll run through the price, and it will go through each of those items that we've listed. That would be like $1, $2, R3, whatever you want to define it as. Okay? And over here, we've kind of created a shorthand, cool, to say that we'll take the total and we'll add it to the price. And that will be the amount that the total is. Okay? And then we return it, basically. So the function takes a list of prices, it loops through each one of those prices, and then it adds them together. Then it returns the final total. Okay? So what we'll do here, because we don't have any defined total prices, we'll print out a few. Okay? We'll call the function, and then we'll add in square brackets, and we'll add in amounts. So let's run this. Okay? Let's close this and let's run it. This is just an alternative way to run the code. Okay. Do you see that over here, it's taken 10 plus 20 plus 30, and it's equated to 60. So now we have a total for how much the prices are added up to, which is really cool. Okay? So now that we are at the end of the video and we understand everything, we are going to uncomment everything, and we're going to send this to GitHub. Okay? Let's take this out, and this, and this, and now we've got everything we need. Did we not move that down somewhere? Let me just check. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to GitHub. Okay, the one thing that I really love is that when you install Git, you automatically get something called Git Bash, and it's also part of the terminal, right? And that's what I prefer to use. I'll show you just now why. So you open up Git Bash by going down to this arrow section, and you click Git Bash, and you'll see a different terminal opening up, which is my favorite. You'll notice here that it tells us that we are on the main branch, and it kind of gives us the path. Compared to when we use PowerShell, it just kind of tells us you're in this directory. However, when you use Git Bash, it'll tell you what branch you are on. For now, we're going to be using the main branch. Okay? So, for us to push this work out, right, we are going to say git add, because, hold on, remember we actually cloned this repo, right? In the CMD, we said cd into desktop, and then we kind of uh, cloned, we said git clone into the desktop, and now we have a folder there, and we opened it up in our IDE. Good. And what we're basically going to be doing with this is saying git add in our current terminal, because we have access to that repo, because we have main over there. Okay, so we say git add to add our work to the repo. So now we're kind of initializing it. We're saying, hey, I want to add this onto my repository. Okay, and then we'll say git commit. But when we are committing, we always add a message, right? So what are we doing here? We say -m, and we'll say initial commit, right? Because it's our first commit. And what you'll see here is it says one file has been changed, and 49 insertions, which means we've added about 49 lines of code, right? And that was all created in our index.py. That is our Python folder. Okay. After we've said git add, git commit, now we are going to git push. Okay. So you say git push. I usually say origin main. Whatever branch you're going to be pushing into, you use origin so that it goes straight and streamlines straight into that branch. Okay. Most of the time we do not push straight to main. We create branches here. Okay, just to keep our code clean. But for this project, we're going to be pushing to main to keep it nice and simple. Okay, so we're going to say enter. And now you can see that over there, everything's been pushed to our repo. Okay, so now let's go over to our repository and let's refresh. And as you can see, we have our code here. This is everything we've just created, which is so dope. Okay, um, that is your first usage of GitHub, the git commands, using git bash, creating really valuable code and learning what are variables, what are how to use inputs, how to use outputs, how to use operators, what are data types, conditionals, lists, dictionaries, and functions, which is a lot. So I'm really proud of you guys. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, do your thing. And also, I'm just really proud of you, because I know how um, how invested you have to be a developer, especially in this day and age when everything is AI, and for you to put in that effort to learn everything step by step. Bye.